Hey guys, I've got yet another Polymoog video for y'all. So this is actually the same Polymoog I shot the video of yesterday showing the inside of the guts and what they do. But I've got this Polymoog all restored and complete, and this video is for Dillan, who owns this awesome 203A Polymoog. So just going to make you a video, Dillan, and for you guys that watch my videos, just a good video going over this unit as a whole. A good demo here. But this one got the typical treatment I do these things. I stripped it all the way back down to the bare chassis and went through it board by board and piece by piece. Rebuilt the keyboard assembly, take all the sliders apart, clean all the sliders, get rid of that Moog foam. Moog used a foam that turns to grease and it just gums everything up. So I clean all that out, flush the sliders, lube them, and now you got a really nice smooth response and they feel good and there's no problems there. Rebuilt the ribbon controller, so it's been rebuilt. And did a lot of updates in this one too, because it is an early serial number. This is serial number 244, or 1244, making it the 244th Polymoog made. So it's a fairly early unit, and so did some upgrades and things to the circuitry to help the reliability. Added a lot of grounds and stuff to also help with static control, as I'd mentioned yesterday on my video. And then I detailed the chassis, conditioned the plastic so it stays nice and clean. I even put new wood grain, fake wood grain on this one. So it's got new wood grain on it. And as you can see, it just looks great. It just cleans up really good. New beat LED in this one. Somebody had rigged up a LED for it that didn't look right. So put a brand new LED in it. And also new LEDs in all the switches here. So it's got all new LEDs there for all the logic switching, and you can just see how clean it looks. Also, Vox Humana is now Vibes. So originally the 203A didn't come with Vox Humana, but now what I do is I take it and reprogram Vibes, which is the most simple preset, and give it Vox Humana. So this one's got Vox Humana now as preset 7. And I'll just kind of walk you around back here to show you this is your serial number, Dillan. So go around back here. 1244. There's your serial number. And like I say, Moog started at 1001 serial number. So the 1 is just a starting point. So it's 244 if you really read the serial number. But go around back here. I've also got a poly pedal connected up. So this is, I just have a poly pedal here I use as a test bed. Just to make sure everything is functioning. But you can see all the great outputs. So you actually have outputs per section. So you have VCF output, direct output, pre-output, resonator output. Now pre is actually your mode filters. So that's the little fixed filters that's on the center board. And then we got mix output, which is a combination of all those in the front mix control. And then we actually got a balanced output as well. So a lot of stuff you can do. You got some extra features like modulation output, and you also have the keyboard output with the S-Trig out, so you can actually connect external synthesizers and make it actually control external like synthesizers like the Mini Moog, Multi-Moog, which I have setting right there. You can do a lot of things with it, so it's just a really cool kind of setup. But anyways, let me walk around here. I'm going to show you one other thing real quick before we do a audio demo. I'm going to show you a poly pedal right quick, just to show you that it is functioning on the poly pedal. So we'll first start with the pitch. So we'll go here. I'll play some keys, and you can hear that the pitch bend works. So that's your pitch. We'll go to filter, and I'll show you that the filter sweep works. We can turn that on. Now the LED's out for this. This pedal still needs to be rebuilt. But now you can hear that the filter will be swept by the pedal. So there's your filter sweep. We've also got a trigger mode, and I'll show you what this does. So if we go up here, I'm just going to set up a envelope here for the filter. As you can hear, we got a little envelope on the filter there. So right now you can see if I hold in a lower note, hit the upper note, I don't get a re-trigger. If I go down here and hit this trigger mode pedal, I can actually get, I'm holding in that lower note, so I can actually get a multi-trigger. What's nice about the poly pedal is I actually fixed it with a switch so you can invert that pedal. So we can go here and switch it over. And now it's going to be right the opposite until I push the pedal in. As you can see, got the pedal unpressed, push the pedal, and it doesn't re-trigger. So really nice feature there, the poly pedal. We also have the sustain pedal, which actually we'll go back to direct for that. Off the pedal, you can see it dies out. That also brings up this button right here. So I'm going to explain this real quick here. So this final decay button is actually, when it's a manual, it's looking for the poly pedal. And then when you go to lock, it's actually going to lock into the sustain, so you don't have to hit the pedal. And I think this is really an option because the pedal was sold separately. So I think they really added this, so if you didn't buy the poly pedal, you could still have sustain. But I always explain this to people to think of this as a clutch, as like on a car, because what happens is if you keep this thing in lock, especially in a studio, like you're doing recordings with this thing, and you just leave this thing sitting here in lock mode, it'll actually start building up, and you'll get like a kind of a Phantom of the Opera kind of thing. So whenever you're done playing and you let your release time go out, hit the manual button, turn it on, and then walk away. That way you don't have any kind of bleed up. So that's just a note I always explain to people that are new to Polymoogs, how that works. But anyways, that's the poly pedal. We also have a swell pedal on it. So this pedal right here, control the volume. As you can see, so that's your volume control. And that's the poly pedal interfaced with the Polymoog. But anyways, let me put the camera on the tripod and I will shoot you guys a demo of this actual synthesizer. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to start first just by showing you the waveforms here. So we'll start with the synthesizer section, basically the oscillators. And we'll start with the sawtooth. I'll go down the key, show you that all the sawtooths are working for every note. So here we go. So there's all your sawtooths. I'll show you the modulation. So you've actually got a footage first, 8 and 4. We got the rank tune. Then we got the modulation, the frequency modulation. So we're going to set a rate up a little high. So there's our amount. So there's your frequency modulation. We've also got this rank mix, which is also where you had a failure point on this one. So you got an upper and lower because you can actually do key splits. So this E key here, the E third, that's actually where your key split starts. So anything below that E3 will be low octave. Anything above that E3 is top octave. So your low octave, set that to 0, so we have no sawtooth. And 5 is about normal there. So same thing for the upper. Balance them out. And there's your sawtooth mix right there. Those come really in handy if you want to make the sawtooth stand out more than the square wave. It's a really handy way to do that. So now we'll move over to the actual square wave. I got it set up to 50% duty cycle in the shape mod here. And I'm just going to scale the keyboard for it as well. So there's all your square waves. And so now what I'll do, I'll show you the modulation of it. So we got the frequency modulation, the footage as well. So we got an 8 and 16 footage for it. As you can see, we got the frequency modulation. And then we got the actual pulse width. So we can change the pulse width of upper or lower. So we'll start with the upper. We can modulate that. So that's your upper, here's your lower. And same thing, we got a mount for the modulation of it as well. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to have a square wave down here and still have the pulse width up here. Put both on here, and then you've got a mix of as you can hear. And then we can combine that with a little bit more frequency modulation. Now there's only one LFO that shares between the two pulse widths, but the frequency modulation are completely independent from each other, and that's really what makes the Polymoog sound so unique as well. As you can hear. So that's pretty much the oscillator section. You also have a lock free button right here, or free lock. And what it actually does, it allows you to lock the two VCOs, so you're actually sharing one VCO for both waveforms to give you a single modulation source. So when we combine the oscillators, here it is unlocked, here it is locked. You can actually hear it. Allows you to get some simpler modulation stuff. If you just want to share the LFO for both waveforms, you can lock it, and then that's what that does for you. So that's your oscillator section. Then we got the loudness control. Now you're going to see me hit this button right here a whole lot during our demo. And what this button here does, it's called the final decay. And when it's a manual, it's actually looking for a poly pedal. So I've actually got a poly pedal hooked up right now, and you can see right now that we have no sustain. If I hit the sustain pedal, I left the pedal and it goes back to that. If I hit lock, it's just like not having the pedal there, it's just always on. And this is really the only design, I would say the design flaw with the Polymoog, because if you have this thing in lock and you just leave it in lock, it'll actually kind of start building up and doing Phantom of the Opera kind of stuff after you play, and you can kind of hear how it works. So if we play this, I'm going to set up a sound real quick. It's not too bad as long as you have your decay release set pretty low, but if you turn those up, you can kind of hear it. It's kind of got some droning kind of stuff going on. But if we bring these up a little bit more, you kind of hear it just kind of gets a little worse. Hit that button, you can see it cleans it up. So I typically tell people to go to this button when they're done playing and put it back in manual so it doesn't sit there and just kind of drone, especially in a studio environment where you want things to be as clean as possible. But we got the loudness controller. So I'll bring up the attack. So we got an attack here. So that's your attack. We've got the decay release. Now this is where the Polymoog also gets interesting because it's got unlimited polyphony. So you can actually bring these things all the way up and you can play every note on the keyboard and it will actually sit there and build up off of them. So as you can see, it'll sit there and just sustain forever when you have that turn all the way decay release all the way up. We've also got the sustain. And now things do affect volume. So just the way the contour envelope is built in this thing, some of these controls will affect the overall volume of the sound, as you can see. But basically the sustain does exactly what you think. So you can hold in the keys and you hear that sustain is a lot shorter there after you let off the notes. You can set everything to 0. It's just a blip. But this also gets in to how you actually make the dynamics show out. So if we bring the sustain up a little bit here, bring a little bit of attack up, and then we'll turn this back on here. You can start hearing those attacks. We can adjust our dynamic level so we don't have to hit the key so hard. And of course you also have these volume mixes over here that come in handy for this particular case where you want to make the dynamics more. And of course you can bring your dynamics up even more to 10. It won't have any dynamics. As you can hear, it's just a hard hit. So that's your loudness contour. And then we've got the different stages of the synthesizer, such as the filtering effect. So we'll set us a sound back up here. Bring this back down a little bit. And then I'm going to just get me a sound set up here. So now what we'll do, we'll go to the resonators. So this is your resonator section. We'll start with high pass filter. Turn everything to 0. So you can see we have nothing there. We'll bring up the lows. So that's your low. You got your medium, or your mids. And then we got the highs. And of course you can hear how clean all these sliders are too. I spent a lot of time cleaning these sliders and getting those right. You combine the sections together. So that's your high pass, and we got band pass. And then we got low pass. that bass frequency. It's got a really good bass frequency response. So that's your resonator section, and then we got the VCF section. So here's your voltage control filter. Got your cutoff, you got your emphasis. So that's your filter. And then we got the keyboard tracking, so we can actually make the filter track the keyboard using the same external keyboard circuit that you use for plug-in like mini moogs and micro moogs, etc. But now you'll hear the filter actually track the keyboard. We got glide. So you can hear your keyboard circuit tracking. Then we got the LFO. So we got a triangular waveform, and we also got sample and hold. So we'll start with the triangular waveform. So there's your triangular waveform. Then we got sample and hold. So that's your sample and hold. And one song I just recently found out that used the Polymoog, I'm pretty certain just by how it sounds, and that's the Moody Blues, Talking Out of Touch, or I'm sorry, Talking Out of Tongue, is actually a song that I hear the Polymoog on. So just for those that might be curious. We also got an envelope generator, so we'll bring up the amount here. We got a slow attack, slow decay. We can set them to 0. It's just a click. So here's your decay, here's your attack. And then we've actually got a sustained level, so that depends on how low the decay goes. So you can kind of hear how that works. So that's your filter section, and it's not really that impressive until you start really mixing these things, because you actually can mix the different signals together to get some different sounds. So we'll set the filter back up. Combine that with the resonator. Alright, so now we're going to go through the mode filters, which are the fixed filters. I'll go through all the presets and show you just how they sound here. So here's preset 1 to the mode filter. And these are a lot lower volume. That's just kind of the nature of these things. On preset 2 you can hear the dynamics. Preset 3, which is organ. And the presets in these things aren't very impressive. Not as much as the 280A, but really the 203As really comes in when you get programming this thing. So here's preset 4, harpsichord. Preset 5, funk. Preset 6. Once again, you hear the dynamics. Preset 7, Vox Humana, which still has the vibes filter. This one is fun to combine with the direct. So there's Vox Humana. Here's preset 8, which is brass. So there's preset 8, which is the brass preset. And then we've got, once again, the variation mode, which when you hit vary, it boots everything, and variation looks at the sliders. That's where you get into the synthesizer. So we also got this section too called part full. So let's say that you want to modify one of these presets. For example, let's take, we'll just take what we're in here, and we're going to actually say we want to keep the loudness control modified. So we'll put it in variation mode. So we can do something like this right here. If I hit this part full and hit any other preset, these now will stay in variation while everything else goes to the presets. If I take that off and then reseat the preset, you can see this goes back to preset mode, like so. So it's a way you can keep something edited and still go through the presets and keep that one section edited. It's actually pretty handy, especially in the loudness controller. Sometimes I edit mine when I'm using it, and I'll keep that on so I don't lose my actual loudness controller settings. But anyways, that's the mode filters. Then we also got filter presets. So there's actually a programming for the filter itself in the preset. So we'll go here to preset 1. Here's the VCF. As you can hear, it's got a little envelope generator on it. Here's preset 2. Organ. It's just got a little fast attack on it there. Harpsichord. We got funk, which has sample and hold. That's a preset that was used by Patrick Moraz quite a bit. And then we got clavichord. And then we got Vox Humana, which still has the vibes programming. Which you can hear it gets pretty loud there. And then we got preset 8. And actually this preset in particular has only sawtooth waveforms, but it's actually got programming for the square wave, so I don't know why they didn't go in and include the sawtooth with it. Here's what it sounds like with the sawtooth. So actually if we listen to that to direct, so it's usually just a sawtooth. But if you listen to the actual variable pulse, it's actually got a program for it. You combine them, and it sounds really good. But anyways, that's the Polymoog. I just want to take a minute here for you, Dylan, just show you things functioning, just give you a good overview of it. And also I will be including, I'm going to go in and show you that the external keyboard CV works as well here. But anyways, I'm just going to tell you guys thanks for watching, and there'll be more here to come here very soon. Take care. So something on demo also for you guys real quick is I've got my 72 Mini Moog up here on top of this Polymoog, and I've got it interfaced to Moog's Open Interface System. That's what Moog called their interface. And it's just really just a simple term, because all it is you have a CV output from the keyboard circuit going into the Mini Moog's oscillator jack, and you have an S-trig signal going into the Mini Moog's S-trigger for triggering the envelopes. So that's really all it is. Moog just used the fancy word Open Interface. And then you do have a little bit of scaling you have to do. So in the Polymoog, what you have to do is you have to make sure you're in the upper split mode in the filter section. You hit your third E, and you hit the E note. Make sure your E note reference is on the Mini Moog. Tune your fine-tune knob of your Mini Moog, and then hit the uppest E note, and then adjust the little scale knob on the back of the Polymoog until you get tracking in. So it's just a you know, like a scale and range kind of calibration that you have to do. But once you get it in, it's set and you're good to go. But I'll show you kind of how this sounds. So first of all, you've got an external synthesizer switch on the poly pedal, which allows you to turn on and off the external synthesizer, which is a really nice feature. So first we have just the Polymoog. So it's just the Polymoog. So there's the Polymoog. Now we're going to switch on the external synthesizer. I'll bring down the Polymoog. We're in the upper, so now the upper keys are going to control the Mini Moog. And once again, your split point is the third E. That's why you have to go to the third E when you're tuning up your scaling for the external synthesizer. So here we are, just the Mini Moog. Polymoog's turned down. We've got a glide circuit in the Polymoog. And it does take some getting used to because it's top note priority for the external synthesizer until you get into the bass notes. And then when you go into lower, it's low note priority. But so you got the glide circuit. So there's that, and we go lower, and now we can control it from the lower keys. And once you get to that E, you have nothing up here for the Polymoog, I mean for the Mini Moog. So it's just low note only. So now, combine the Polymoog . So you can hear how that works. So it's really handy, really cool feature. We can also combine the filter with that, so we'll go back low, and here's the Polymoog to the filter with the Mini Moog. So here we just got a little sample and hold on there with the Mini Moog. But anyways, that's the Moog Open interface, just a quick little demo of that for you.